guys. Welcome to Chakra Sessions. I'm your host, Polly Jo Labbé. We are here on Star Nation's live stream shows, care of Be Live TV, and we come to you through Facebook Land and later through YouTube. So welcome to the show. Glad you're here. Today we're talking about how to journey to your soul. And that may sound a little interesting or different, or maybe it has some questions for you. So that is what we're here to stir up energetically to help you connect to your deepest, fullest part of yourself. So I'm going to start off by getting us ready with our good morning, Christine. Glad to have you in the house. I'm going to have you like and share. I'm going to go on and do the same because without beautiful Neshi here, she's so busy with her own stuff that I want to make sure that I get this out there for everybody to join us. So give me a second as I share it to a couple things. And I can't do both and seem to do the same thing. So let's see, what's the next one? Oh, I'll share it here. Okay. So there we go. Good morning. Let's see who else is in the house. So Marie, happy Tuesday to you too. And to Lindsay, hello. Good to see you in the house. Tina, good morning, sweetheart. Glad you are here with us. This will be a great thing for you. So yeah, if you could like and share on your little devices, that would be great. Help us get the word out that we're here and that we're live. Hi, Fran. Nice to have you in the house. Glad you made it back. So today's topic, it always surprised me, first of all, because my spiritual team sets the topic for the show, basically a week in advance. And often I'm not sure why we're going to be doing that topic when it first gets chosen. But as the energy gets closer and as things unfold, I start to understand it. I start to see why. And part of it's for my own spiritual journey. Part of it is to share, things that are going on for clients and students. It tends to be the energy of the week. It's kind of like I pull a card for the show, and that's where we go. So this one is called Journey to Your Soul. And so that was an interesting thing for me because, you are your soul. We don't have to go anywhere to be our soul. But in our human form, in our human state, we've kind of gotten to a place of disremembering, right? And so in that place of disremembering, we don't always connect to the deepest, fullest part of ourselves. We don't travel inwards far enough to go back to our own creation energy. And that's what this is all about. So it was an interesting thing as the energy began to unfold, because, we're still slightly in the full moon energy. The fall equinox is just around the corner. And because of that, we're in this shedding stage. We're about to shed all of our leaves for a new beginning. We're also in the energy of turning over a new leaf or starting a new chapter. And part of that is, are you ready to shed parts of you that aren't really you? And are you ready to journey back to the fullest part of who you are, your authentic truth or your authentic self, as some people will say. So this was so cool. Hi, Brandy. Glad to have you here. Nice to have you in the house. And good morning, Lisa. Glad to have you here as well. Yeah, this is such an interesting, energy, an interesting time of exploring who we are. And I think that's why my spiritual team has me doing some deep dive energy work at Star Nations, the 3-day weekend coming up, the 11th through the 13th. And also in Algonquin, Maine, I'm doing the same thing on the 4th to the 6th out here on the East Coast. So it's obviously a time where people are ready to shed aspects that just really aren't true for us anymore. So I was thinking about there are things that keep popping up in the media and social media as well, where there's a lot of people who seem to be having continuous things going wrong. And there's also a lot of which I had foreseen. There are a number of people who are transitioning, who are leaving the planet, and a lot of births that are also happening at the same time, and they tend to go together. And as part of that, sort of that transition, exiting and entering energy, we also are seeing, for me, I'm seeing a lot of people who are, they're at this brand new chapter in their life and they're like, now what I do? Now that I, worked my way through all this struggle, and for some people, there was this huge struggle all through spring and summer. And now it's like they're through it and they're so used to the struggle that they're not really sure how to take action with this brand new energy. I see a few more people joined us. Hello, Molly. Glad to have you. Good morning. Oh, yay. Julie, you're here. Glad to have you. Congrats on your car. I'm very excited for you. And Franny is sending me lots of love, which I appreciate. So what I was getting basically was that, and this is true all the time, but we're in a stage right now where we're having an amplified awareness. We're starting to realize more easily, more quickly, relationships that aren't working very well for us. And sometimes it's odd because things will seem fine for a long time. And then all of a sudden you're like, wow, I've been putting up with a lot for a while. Or just really a strong urge, a strong need to set even tighter boundaries on what's acceptable for you. And the need to be able to say no without feeling guilty. That's my team. My team's like, hello, there's a bunch of people who need to learn how to say no. And there's also this sense of, we have some really antiquated beliefs that we were brought up with that none of us really believed when we were first told to believe it. But now they're kind of staring us at the face. We are in this place of, I think a lot of people are ready for peace on earth. And we can't do that until we feel at peace in our own home, our own body, our own self. So, we can complain about everything external. We can complain about what's going on in the world around us. But that's when we're shifting blame outside. So when we can start to shift who we are on the inside, when we can find our inner peace, when we can journey back to the truth of who we are at our soul essence, then peace and, treating each other with compassion and seeing every person, every plant, every being on this planet as equal and worthy and significant. But to do that, we have to be in this really full heart space, and a lot of people will talk about, you want to be open-hearted. And I think those of us who are here, a lot of us are light workers. So in that light worker energy, we automatically do our best to keep our heart open as often as we can. Releasing judging to the best of our ability. And also being in a place where we try not to make assumptions. We try not to assume that we know what's going on in somebody else's head, or really working through frustration and returning to a state of patience. So one of the things that my team has been talking about is how do we get our beliefs aligned with our integrity? And how do we align our integrity with our honesty? And the interesting thing is that integrity and honesty are in different locations in our energy body. I found that completely fascinating, because to me, a lot of people use those words as synonyms, but they are in two different spots in your body. And if you want to check, we can check real quick for those of you who are feelers, even those who are knowers. Just take a minute and close your eyes. Take a deep breath. And just ask your body, where is my integrity? And you may feel something squeeze, you may feel tingling, or you might just all of a sudden feel your attention drawn to a particular pot. And there's no right answer because we all hold it in different places. Great. And now take another deep breath and blow out. And ask where in my body is my honesty located? And you just may notice a shift. You may feel it in a slightly different spot. It may share some of the same places, but generally you'll notice that they feel different. And so that got me really thinking about, because I feel like to be in your integrity, you have to have full honesty to the best of your ability. But there are times when you're honest about one thing, but you're not honest about everything. So you may be honest in that moment, in that exchange, but you may not be in integrity with like your money, or you may not be in integrity with your time, your boundaries on time. And so for me, what I was noticing with students especially, and myself, was that, when we can line up our integrity, we get really close to being in the fullness of our heart line, that crystalline tube that goes up and down and connects us to the divine above and below us. And yes, there's divine energy above us and below us. Some people have had a hard time with that one. But yes, it's above us and below us. So the thing about being in integrity is that you're doing your best to be your truth, speak your truth, and live your truth. So that's when our beliefs and our patterns and even just certain ideas come into question, because do they line up with our truth? So when we want to connect deeply with our soul, it is really important that we hold as much of our integrity as we can in the moment. It doesn't mean if you've been out of your integrity that you can't touch your soul, because you are your soul. But the more we're in our integrity, the more we are able to go deep within and get closer and closer and closer to the essence. But we've got a lot of beliefs that are heavy. They're dense because they're from this dimension. So imagine all of our beliefs and that we've picked up as children, as a society, as humanity. We're carrying those like bricks. It's great to have bricks for a house when you're not carrying them around. But anybody who's lifted those things, there's only so many you can carry without it kind of tiring you out, right? So we may not sense it because we've been carrying them for so long, but we certainly do sense it as soon as we put a brick down. As soon as we put that energy of that doesn't work for me anymore and we put it down, we often feel lighter. A lot of people will say, wow, I felt really light after that. So Julie said, wow, that was really revealing where these two ideas are within me, right? They're not, when my team first had me do that, it was actually really shocking to me. And it also, it's an interesting way to check in with yourself. Because now that you know where they are, you can go, okay, am I aligned with my own honesty? Am I aligned in my integrity? And you can have a sense of that. And when we are, then we know we're making the right choices. But these beliefs, right, that we have that are so heavy, some of them don't work for us anymore. For example, not everybody on the planet believes that there's heaven and hell. And so if you are walking around with that energy and don't believe it any longer, then that brick is a brick that you could put down, and it doesn't mean that it's not true for other people. It just can be, okay, that's not my truth anymore. Okay. I don't experience the divine in that particular way. And you put it down. And it doesn't change anybody else's energy. You're not asking anyone else to change their beliefs. That's the big thing, is that when we're in our integrity, when we're in our truth, when we're in ourself, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. And the cool thing is they get to be in theirs. And there's no right and there's no wrong in that energy. It just is. Now, if they're out of their integrity, that's on them. And when somebody, you're in relationship with somebody who can't stand in their integrity, and we've all had those, where, people make promises and they don't keep them, and you're in this pattern over and over, and you're like, I can't do this dance with you anymore because I need to be in my integrity, and I want to attract other people who are standing in their integrity. And as I said, to the best of our ability, right? Because we're all human. And there are times when we compromise because, often for someone else. But, when we do that, we check in and go, okay, I need to compromise on this because it's not going to get resolved. And I'm giving myself space for this to be my truth. But when we do that, we start to journey closer and closer to our soul just naturally. But there are a lot of people who are out there who are, seeking the truth, seeking who they are meant to be, seeking how they're supposed to share their gifts with the world. And so we're taking classes, we're watching, videos, whatever it takes to help us remember who we are. And so when we do the meditation in a little bit, we are going to journey to our soul center. And so when we do that, we can have that as a guiding light for our journey. So, people talk about the light at the end of the tunnel. I'm always like, okay, I reach the light at the end of the tunnel, and then I see there's 10 more tunnels to choose from that I've got to journey through to get to the next light. But the cool thing is that sense of I'm getting closer to home. I'm getting closer to me. And it's inside of us. It's a deeper awareness of ourselves. It's a deeper connection to us and how we are divine, how we interact with the divine. And really, so we are taking action in our lives from the fullest place that we can, rather than reacting to the situations and circumstances around us, right? We were trained as children and through our education to react to situations. It's why we had, tests that were timed because it had nothing to do with whether we actually understood and comprehended the material. It was how fast can you recall it? Which, if you think about that, it really has no bearing from a soul level, right? At a soul level, there is no time. So why would you put somebody in a time container? It works on our three-dimensional plane. But the reality is it doesn't mean you didn't know that information. It's that the energy flow wasn't bringing it necessarily to the paper rapidly enough for you, by the way. So a number of things are popping up for people. So Brandy is saying, yes, this is where I'm at in my relationship. Yep. It's a big one. And Julie is saying, ooh, this is a big bing today. Yeah, there's a lot of binging that has been happening. And Brandy's also saying, I'm seeking now and thirsty for my purpose. Yes, I like that. Thirsty for my purpose. Good phraseology. So as we are taking these old beliefs and patterns, so I'm trying to think, I've been shedding a lot. So give me a second to come up with a belief that I've shed recently. Anybody got one? Lisa saying all roads lead here. I appreciate that, Lisa. Let me get a little fluid in me. Get a little liquid in me. All right. So what I'm feeling is like, the current world climate, some of the politics and things like that. It's bringing to the forefront a really strong test of what we stand for and what we believe. And I'm not going to discuss that here. And I would encourage you not to either, because that will pull our vibration down. But there are a lot of things that are happening vibrationally that are calling into question, is this what I believe? And there may be a gathering of thousands of people who have a particular belief, but that doesn't mean you have to believe it. And it's really bringing into question, how do I stand in my truth? There are a number of us who, see water on the planet as our life force. So, how do we protect that? How do we keep that safe for ourselves and safe on a planetary basis? And so we're all going to hold a particular vibration around that. And we're all going to take action in different ways, right? And it's holding in your own personal integrity of what you believe right this minute. Because for those of us who've lived a few decades, we know that our belief system now may be very different than it was when we were a teenager, right? So in that place, you make your choices in alignment with your beliefs and aren't swayed by those thousands of people who might not share them. And getting to a place where we're not judging other people for that. For me, it just saddens me when I see somebody holding a belief that's restricting possibilities for someone else, or restricting possibilities for themselves. That saddens my heart. But that's their choosing, and that's where their integrity is at the moment. And it doesn't have to be mine. Does that make sense? So yes. So Lisa has a very good phrase, that God is separate. Yes. I'll talk more about that in a second. And then Lindsay June said, this is a big one for me right now, and timed math test. I'm going to need to work through that at school. Lindsay goes to my healing school, and we work through make sure you write it in your rule book, Lindsay. Start writing it down. It's going to be a rule that you need to work on. So side note to that, those beliefs that we have, they're things that when we've got them, they held us steady, and when they're brought up, they trigger us. They cause us to react. And when we are in a space where we're triggered and we can't help it, but we react, then that's a belief that is still in its shadow. It's not in our integrity. So with my students, especially who are in level 3, they create what's called a rule book. And in the rule book, they write down anything like Lindsay with her math tests, that, the only way to do math is with a time test or something like that. Or the only way to prove my worth with math is through a time test, which is a bunch of baloney, and we all know it. So removing that belief that my grades, here's one for a number of us, the grades that I received in school have nothing to do with my ability to actually do the subject. So my grades in mathematics are separate from my ability to do mathematics, because there are a lot of people who are really brilliant who didn't get good grades in school. Ask Einstein. So that is one thing that you can start to do is create this rule book, and it gives you a place for you to go and look at, okay, what energy of this can I clear? And some of those rules we're going to keep. Like, I personally am going to look both ways before I cross the road. That one I'm probably going to keep until I die. because it seems like a good one. It keeps a lot of people safe. I've seen a lot of people step out onto crosswalks without looking, just assuming that other people are going to stop for them no matter what. And I just don't, that for me is not a good choice on my part. So that's a rule I'm going to keep in my rule book, because yeah, it still feels in my integrity. It still feels aligned with my soul. It's just what I'm going to do. Lisa mentioned that God is separate. Yes, they're depending on how we view God, is how we choose our responses. And so if we believe in a God who's judgmental, then we create a lot of judgment within ourselves and within others. If we believe in a God that it has unconditional love, then we open that possibility for us to have unconditional love and to receive unconditional love. If we have the belief that we are a co-creator with the divine, then that is what we are able to do. And if we believe we are the divine and we are a strand of the divine tapestry, then we can create that as well. And those beliefs also can change over time. As you experience things, as you shed old beliefs that aren't yours, you start to open an awareness of like, what's your experience? What's your connection? It's why when I do meditations, I have you connect to your perception of the divine, because we literally, every person on the planet has a different perception. Even if we may talk and use the same verbiage, a number of us may talk and use the same verbiage, we still are experiencing it in our own unique way. And that's the truth with our soul. We're all experiencing our soul in a different way. And you know this to be true because you can have, there's studies that show, that you have, they've done it with like triplets and with twins and things who are identical, right? But they all end up a different person. Even if they lived in the same house, they went to the same schools, they had the same teachers, they did the same sports, they still end up different people. They may look the same and we may judge them to be the same, but they each are having their own experience. And when we assume that they're not, then we're putting a container around their soul's possibility. So lots said. I hope that's starting to make sense. So from the chakra energy around this, the ego self, the part of us that is functioning here through the soul's journey, that is here to learn from this school of the soul. That part is our ego. And the ego is the part of ourself that is, it has a lot of survival energy because it's meant to keep us safe, so that we can have our lessons and learn them. It can get very caught in the day-to-day practicalities like food, water, shelter, job, family, the weather. And there are times when it is meant to help us, create a little fear so that we take action. But sometimes that fear gets locked on. With animals in the animal kingdom, when they have an episode of fear, once it's done, you will see them like literally like shake it off. You'll see deer or you'll see dogs or any any animal that I have experienced, you once they go through that franticness, then they shake it off. Now, as humans, we don't usually shake it off. We go through all this stress of being, of the shock, and we don't always allow ourselves time to release and reintegrate. We keep going and going and going. And we turn our everyday living into a stress-induced environment. Stress is supposed to help us take action, but it's not supposed to be who we are. So the ego part of ourselves, in terms of our chakra system, has a lot of energy in our solar plexus. It has a lot in that third chakra right below the rib cage. And that's where it's like my team shows, like that's where the brain is. That's where the brain of the survival body is. That's where the brain of the ego is. It's sitting in that solar plexus. And when that gets really revved up, it bypasses our heart, it bypasses our throat, and it goes up and it takes control of our perception. Because it needs to have that quick end around, so that if we're in true danger, we can react without thinking, per se. And so when the ego takes over, it often will create spinning thinking to keep us in that sort of anxious place. And anxiety is usually some form of fear. We're fearful of what might happen. We're fearful that what happened in the past could happen again. We're fearful that this circumstance looks a lot like another circumstance, and that circumstance didn't go well. So it gets us caught in that energetic loop. Now, the soul connection, when your chakras are in a straight line, my team is like, when your chakras are only in 3D, then the soul point is, it's like the belly button of your higher self. So if you can imagine that there's like your higher self is standing on your own shoulders, it would be the belly button of your higher self. But the work that I do, that I help with in chakra sessions a lot, is how do we get our higher self to integrate? So it's like we're pulling on our higher self like a dress and wearing it so that it's connected to who we are in this moment. It's not a separate identity. We're working as one with our higher self. And so when that happens, that belly button actually aligns with our belly button. So you have the belly button, and then right above it is the third chakra. So there's two. If you put your hand right below your rib cage, that's where your third chakra is. If you slide down just a little bit, when we do the meditation, we'll be calling the central gateway, the belly button to your higher self, into where our belly button is. And basically that's because we're connecting the energy through an umbilical cord to the divine, actually to the center of creation, to be more accurate. So that's a lot to say. So one of the things that I wanted to say while we're still in thinker mode is that there are two oils that can help. And it's funny because I realized that they look the same at the moment. Maybe not from the back. Can you see that there are different colors? This one has the purple in it and this one doesn't. So the central gateway, this one helps you connect to that belly button of your higher self, the umbilical cord to the divine. When I've done that with, when we did the meditation, that was just to connect to this. That's our deepest knowing from our soul that doesn't go through our emotional body. So we connect to it, but our emotional body and our ego self doesn't have a chance to react. It just connects to it. And that just brings the authentic truth right through. And we don't have the opportunity to dismiss it as rapidly. When it drops in normally into our inner knowing, it's so close to, if our ego's taken over our brain, it's so close at the base of the skull that it can instantly, start going, well, no, that's not really true. Or you don't know that information you got was the truth or whatever. The Chakra 3 blend works on the solar plexus right above it. That helps bring balance to your ego. It helps bring balance to your fire. It helps bring balance to your stress, your anxiety, your worry. Kind of works on everything that can squeeze who you are, squeeze your self-esteem, squeeze your self-worth. The Chakra 3 helps bring that back into balance. So it's truly where you're at. So the energy of these two is connected to what we're doing going to do today. Phew! 3-dimensional words, having some trouble with them. So thank you for bearing with me. And I've said this before, but it bears repeating. The oils aren't doing the work for you. It's not the oil. Essential oils are fantastic for training your energy body to remember what to do naturally. I'm going to say that again. Essential oils are here to train your energy body what to do naturally. So when you want it's manifesting within your body, right? So when you're saying, okay, I want my third chakra to be in balance, so I'm going to use this on my third chakra. The oils are going to remind my third chakra what it feels like, what the experience is to be in balance. And then my inner knowing spot goes, oh, right. That's what balance feels like. Let's do balanced. I like balanced. Okay. And the central gateway, it opens the central gateway, but it's one of those things where most of us, we're not connecting to our higher soul chakras. And so when we're not used to connecting to them, we're missing out on a whole part of our energy system that is here to assist us. So how about using it? So it's reminding us, it's helping us remember something that we're already programmed. Our internal software, it's probably a hard drive, is meant to run this function. It's meant to do this naturally. And I'm just here to help guide you energetically through that reconnection. All right. So we got about 15 minutes. So let's go touch our soul and see what that experience can be for us. So I'm going to invite you to ground yourself. So some people will imagine a grounding cord that goes down from their first chakra or their tailbone down through both legs or through the center of their heart line into the earth in the deepest, fullest place connected to the center of the earth or around the molten lava core. Some people will connect from their heart chakra. And as it goes from the heart chakra through the third, the second, the first, all the way down, And you can even connect your personal central gateway, the umbilical cord of the higher self, down as well. And you can also invite the earth's energy to just come up and hold you, to wrap around your legs or your knees, or just sort of fill in your legs like you're a giant tree. All right. And we're going to start by calling in the divine energy, however you perceive that. And we're going to invite it to connect to us and through us in the fullest, brightest, highest vibration and frequency possible. And we're going to ask the divine energy to surround and protect us in a bubble of infinite love and infinite light.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're going to invite in our spiritual team, our guides, our mentors, our angels, our mystical creatures, the star beings, all divine of the highest, fullest, and brightest potential available to us in this moment.
Yeah.
And so we're going to invite each of our chakras to come into balance. So starting at the crown, just experiencing the crown full and in balance. Our third eye, our sixth chakra, round, full, and in balance.
Yeah.
Our throat chakra, round, full, and in balance.
Yeah.
Our heart chakra, round, full, and in balance.
Yeah.
Our third chakra in the solar plexus, round, full, and in balance.
Yeah.
Our second chakra, just below the navel, round, full, and in balance.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And our first chakra, below our tailbone, also round, full, and in balance.
Yeah.
And we're going to invite in our higher self and our soul chakras to reintegrate into our physical body, into our physical realm.
Yeah.
Sliding down
Yeah.
to anchor in connection,
Yeah. Yeah. yeah,
And you may notice the manifestation point now in between your first and second chakras.
yeah,
Your soul point or the central gateway in between your second and third chakras, right at the near the belly button.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
You may feel your transcendental heart or the high heart located in between the throat and the heart chakras, the top of the sternum.
yeah, yeah,
You may feel your inner knowing point at the base of the skull in between the throat chakra and the sixth chakra.
yeah, yeah,
And you may feel your seventh sense just above your crown chakra. Some people feel that as the Godhead.
yeah, yeah,
And you may also feel a tingling in between the sixth and seventh chakras, that inner activation point.
yeah,
And now we're going to invite our third chakra and our central gateway, the belly button and the solar plexus energy, to come together through infinite love and infinite light. And as they come together, they're balanced like the yin-yang symbol.
yeah,
So the sense of self and the higher self are together in their separateness.
yeah,
And we're going to open the central gateway. And you may sense light or heat or tingling. And as the central gateway opens more fully within us, we're simply going to allow all dense energy to collapse for a moment. Returning to the energy of what some may call the central star. But the original container of creation energy, the original ocean of creation flow, that we are part of, but we also are. And in this space of connection, you may sense or know the phrase I am. Experiencing the echo. And just take a moment to feel the fullness of your energy in this spot. And if there are any places where there is tightness or discomfort, just simply recognizing that's where the bricks of belief are still most concentrated.
Yeah.
And we ask that a memory be created within our muscles, within our tissues, within our awareness of this spot. So we have it to guide us.
Yeah.
And we're gently going to call our energy back, allowing the gateway to go to its natural state within our being. And if it's naturally wide open, it may stay that way. And just allowing any excess energy that we picked up to go down through the grounding cord to help fill Grandmother Earth with that creation energy to help her and the entire planet heal. And I'm going to invite you to begin to come back into this space, into this time. You might want to stretch or yawn or rub your feet on the floor, rub your hands together, whatever will help you begin to expand and awaken here. Oh, Cindy Lynn, I'm glad you were able to join us through part of that. You are here. You're not late. You're exactly when you were meant to be. Good job. All right. So here we are. I hope you had a lovely experience from that. So again, now that you've had the experience of the meditation, you have that as a light for your tunnel, for you to journey toward that, for you to as you are standing more fully in your integrity, you can feel your soul lining up with that location. And it's a place where for everyone, again, your experience will be different because we're all unique in our own way. So I hope that that was something that was helpful to you, to help you on your soul's journey at this moment. Oh, hi, Taylor. Glad you're here as well. You're very welcome for the meditation. I'm glad that worked for you. So, it's a little bit of a different week this week with our, our queen, Neshi, our queen goddess, Neshi, is with mini Kansmen on their own nature adventure. And so a lot of the shows that we normally would have are replays. And tomorrow night, I will not be doing my show because the energy that I hold, I really need a co-pilot. And so we won't be doing soul connections this week. But that doesn't mean that you can't connect to the energy. You can always play a replay and do the meditation and allow that to take root for you. And for those of you who are in, Massachusetts or nearby, I will be doing a special celebration on Monday for the fall equinox, which has a lovely connection to the energy and a meditation and a clearing, because that's who I am. But I'll be back next week for chakra sessions. We'll see what my team has in store for us. But we've been working on a lot of fuller vibrational frequency things this year because there's some of us who need to get to work. We're all light workers and we need to get out there. So I hope you enjoyed that. And with that, have a great rest of your week. And if you need, if you have any questions, feel free to send me a message through Chakra Sessions or here. Oh, neat. So Lindsay, I just want to share this before I go. Lindsay I was able to do the meditation in a really beautiful place. So part was with my eyes open. Magical. Nice. And yes, Lisa, a lot of these are perfect for bedtime because when we get into that place, then there's nothing holding us back and it makes sleep so much easier. So that's so beautiful. So with that, you guys have a great rest of your week. I will see you next week on Chakra Sessions, and hopefully some of you will join me. I would love to see some of you at Star Nations on October 11th through the 13th, or come up and visit me in Agunquit, Maine on the 4th through the 6th. They're both empowerment weekends. They're both set for you to really release those belief bricks so that you are walking lighter and fuller and aligned on your magical purpose. Mwah. Have a great one.